A couple of weeks ago, my family and I headed down to Cocoa Beach, Florida on vacation. And while I generally don't film things while we're on vacation, we ended up doing a couple of things that I thought my fellow fish keepers would enjoy. So let's go ahead and check it out. My daughter had wanted to go on this kayaking tour where you had the potential of seeing manatees in the wild. This took place on the Banana River, which is a brackish water river located just off the coast. So my daughter and I boarded a tandem kayak and headed out with 6 other boats along with our guide in search of the manatees. So while we were waiting for everyone to board, I found this awesome school of minnows and stuck the GoPro in to check them out. I can't tell you what they were, but this definitely foreshadowed some great things to come. So after about a half hour or so of paddling, we found our target. We couldn't get too close since touching a manatee is a $500 fine in the state of Florida, and manatees are extremely protected and extremely endangered. I was able to get this footage with my GoPro, so as you can see, the water was kind of murky and we were moving in a kayak, so this was about the best footage I could get. So after spending about 15 minutes with the manatees, we moved onward to the Banana River. Our guide gave us the opportunity to take a kayak trail through one of the mangrove forests, which I thought was one of my favorite parts of our adventure on the Banana River. There are quite a few fish swimming in and out of the mangroves, which I thought were either mostly mollies or gambusia, since I could see gravid spots on some of the females. But let's just go ahead and enjoy nature as we travel through the mangroves. As we leave the mangrove forest, I found the brackish but tannin-stained water to be kind of an interesting ecosystem. We normally don't think of brackish aquariums and associate those with tannins, but as we can see, that's definitely a thing in the wild. I could have spent all day poking around the mangrove forest, but it was time to head back. I really enjoyed spending time with my daughter and exploring all the nature that the Banana River had to offer. After collecting fish at the ALA last year, I wanted to go out and do a little bit more fish collecting as well. Since I wasn't familiar with the area, I did some Googling on freshwater fishing places and found a couple of options that I considered checking out. But finding fresh water required some driving away from the coast, so I left the family at the beach and headed out. The first place I went to was the James G. Bourbeau Memorial Park along the St. Johns River. I really couldn't fish here since there were signs saying not to disturb the environment, so I decided to fish with my camera. I did find quite a few fish along the shorelines looking to be either gambusia or molly species, but without netting them out, I really couldn't tell. But as you can see, they were definitely quite plentiful. The water was also tea-stained again, so finding good GoPro footage proved to be difficult. This location also had a boat launch where I made another find, this dead pleco. Definitely a stark reminder to not release your fish into the wild and to do whatever you can to avoid contributing to the invasive species problems that we face. I did find more of the same fish at the boat ramp as well, but since I really couldn't net anything here, I decided to head to a different location. I ended up driving about 40 minutes north and ended up in this place called the 6 Mile Creek. This place was definitely out of the way, but a great place for fish collecting. As you can see from the top view here, there was more of the same type of fish, but this time I was able to get my net out to see what we've got. So I hit a second area of the creek as well and found much of the same fish. So I spent about half an hour, 45 minutes at the 6 Mile Creek. It was definitely fun to net out some fish again. They looked to me to be gambusia, But a second thought, looking at the video, they might actually be mollies. So let me know what you think in the comments. It'll be interesting to see what you think they are. So I decided not to take any fish home with me, and we headed back north to Michigan. And this is where we get into the not so fun part of the story. Apparently while I was gone, one of the breakers had tripped in the fish room and left a portion of the tanks downstairs unheated. While a lot of the fish were okay, there were a few that didn't make it. Unfortunately, I lost my new group of Ungalum rainbow fish that I had picked up recently in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and also my 75-gallon Lake Tanganyikan tank with the Microlepidotus and the Julidichroma stickfeldi. And also my leopard frog plecos that I've had for over a year. It could have been a lot worse, since there were a lot of other unheated tanks in the fish room, including the saltwater tank that was down to the mid-60s. But everything in that tank was okay. So definitely speaks to the hardiness of a lot of the saltwater fish. This was definitely a hard loss to swallow, since I added a couple of heaters before I went on vacation, which is what caused the breaker to trip. I know better than to mess with things within 2 weeks of going on a vacation, so this was definitely my fault. So I'll go ahead and learn from this, make the necessary adjustments, and make the fish barn even better in the future. So sorry to end this video on a downer, but I really did enjoy my vacation down in Florida. And with that being said, stay safe, stay fishy, and we'll see you on the next video.